Stop smiling, Felix. The words came out of Hyunjin's mouth before he could stop them. The practice room went silent. Felix's smile remained on his face for another second, almost perfectly in place, until the corners of his lips slowly fell. Bang-chan lowered the bottle in his hand. Changbin stopped stretching. Han looked up from his phone. Sungmin's eyes moved between Hyunjin and Felix. While Ian quietly removed one earbud. What? Felix asked. His voice sounded normal. That was exactly what frightened Hyunjin. The room was bright with fluorescent lights. But somehow Felix looked pale beneath them. Sweat dampened the hair around his forehead, and his chest rose and fell faster than it should have after a simple rehearsal. Hyunjin stared at him. Felix smiled again. I'm fine. Hyunjin felt something cold settle in his stomach. Felix always smiled when he was nervous. He smiled when he was embarrassed. He smiled when someone teased him. He smiled when he was exhausted and didn't want anyone to worry. But this smile was different. It didn't reach his eyes. Are you sure? Bang-chan asked gently.
Yeah.
Felix grabbed his water bottle. His fingers trembled, only for a moment, but Hyunjin saw it. Felix twisted the cap open and took a long drink. Turning his face away from everyone, the room filled with the quiet hum of the air conditioner and the distant thump of music from another studio. Hyunjin couldn't look away. Something had happened. He didn't know what, he only knew Felix was hiding it. Let's take 10 minutes, Bang-chan said. Everyone looks exhausted. The members scattered around the room. Changbin dropped onto the floor with a dramatic groan. Han laughed and threw a towel at him. Sungmin complained that the towel was probably dirtier than Changbin's face. Ian laughed quietly. For a few moments, everything looked normal, except Felix. He sat near the mirror with his knees pulled slightly toward his chest. He wasn't laughing. He wasn't talking. He was staring at his phone. Then the screen lit up. Felix immediately turned it face down. Hyunjin saw the movement. His eyes narrowed. Who was that? Felix looked up. No one? Then why did you hide your phone? Felix's expression changed. Not dramatically, just enough. I didn't... Hyunjin. There was something in Felix's voice that made Hyunjin stop. It wasn't anger. It was fear. Hyunjin slowly walked toward him. What's going on? Nothing. Felix, I'm tired. Felix stood. He moved too quickly. For a second, his balance disappeared. His shoulders struck the mirror. A dull sound echoed through the room. Everyone turned. Felix. Bang-chan was already moving. Felix lifted both hands. I'm okay. I'm okay. But Hyunjin had reached him first. He caught Felix by the arm. The skin beneath his fingers felt cold. Far too cold. You're shaking. Felix looked down. His hand was trembling. He immediately clenched it into a fist. It's just because I'm tired. Hyunjin didn't believe him. Neither did Bang-chan. But before anyone could ask another question, Felix's phone vibrated again. This time, everyone heard it. Felix froze. The color disappeared from his face. He stared at the phone as though it were something dangerous. Hyunjin slowly released his arm. Felix picked up the phone. He read the message. His eyes moved rapidly across the screen. Then he locked it. I'm going outside for some air. Bang-chan stepped forward. I'll come with you.
Oh, no.
The answer came too quickly. Bang-chan stopped. Felix swallowed. I mean, you don't have to. I'll just be outside for a minute. He walked toward the door. Hyunjin watched him leave. The door closed softly behind him. Nobody spoke. Then Sungmin broke the silence. That wasn't normal. Hyunjin nodded. Bang-chan looked toward the closed door. Give him a minute. Hyunjin stared at the floor. He wanted to respect Felix's space. He really did. But something inside him kept screaming that this wasn't about exhaustion. It wasn't about rehearsal. And it definitely wasn't nothing. He stood. I'm going after him. Bang-chan looked at him. Hyunjin. I won't pressure him. A pause. I just want to make sure he's okay. Bang-chan steadied his face before finally nodding. Okay? Hyunjin stepped into the hallway. The noise from the other practice rooms immediately surrounded him. Music, footsteps, laughter, voices, but Felix was nowhere in sight. Hyunjin walked toward the end of the corridor. Then he heard something. A faint sound. Someone breathing unevenly. He stopped. The sound came from the emergency stairwell. Hyunjin opened the door. The smell of cold concrete and dust filled the air. Felix was sitting halfway down the stairs. His elbows rested on his knees. His head was lowered, His phone lay beside him. For several seconds, Hyunjin said nothing. Then Felix whispered, You shouldn't have followed me. Hyunjin closed the door behind him. Probably not. Felix gave a weak laugh. It sounded nothing like his usual laugh. Hyunjin sat beside him. What happened? Nothing. Don't do that. Felix looked at him. Do what? Smile and say you're fine when you're obviously not. Felix's expression cracked. His eyes became wet. He looked away quickly. I don't know what you want me to say. The truth. Felix rubbed his palms against his sweatpants. Here, what? Because if I tell you, you'll worry. I already am. Felix closed his eyes. For a long moment, There was only the distant sound of music through the stairwell wall. Finally, Felix whispered, "Someone has been sending me messages." Hyunjin's body went still. "What kind of messages? I don't know." "What do you mean you don't know? They're just—" Felix stopped. His throat tightened. Hyunjin waited. "It's like they know things." "What things?"
"Things I never told anyone." Hyunjin felt his heartbeat quicken. Felix reached for his phone. He unlocked it? There were dozens of messages. No name, no name, no profile picture. Just an unknown number. Hyunjin read the newest one. His stomach dropped. The message contained a photograph. It was Felix, taken from a distance. He was walking alone outside the company building. The timestamp was from earlier that same day. Hyunjin looked at Felix. "Who took this?" "I don't know." "Have you told Chen?" Felix shook his head. "Why?" "Why? Because I don't want everyone to worry." Hyunjin stared at him. "You're being followed." "Felix, I know." The quietness of his answer frightened Hyunjin more than anything else. "You knew?" Felix nodded. "I noticed someone 3 days ago." 3 days! I thought I was imagining it. And today? Felix looked down at his phone. "Today they sent me this." Another message appeared. Hyunjin watched Felix's expression change. "What does it say?" Felix didn't answer. "Felix." He slowly turned the phone toward him. The message was only one sentence. "I know who you trust." Hyunjin felt his blood run cold. "That's it." Felix nodded. Then another message appeared. This one came with a photograph. Hyunjin stared at the screen. The photograph had been taken inside the practice room. It showed all 8 members, taken only minutes earlier. The angle was impossible. Whoever had taken it had been somewhere nearby. Hyunjin slowly looked toward the stairwell door. Felix whispered, "They've been watching us." For the first time that evening, Hyunjin understood why Felix had been smiling. He hadn't been happy. He had been trying to convince everyone that nothing was wrong, because admitting the truth would make it real. .com. Hyunjin reached for Felix's hand. "You don't have to handle this alone." Felix looked at him. A tear finally slipped down his cheek. "I was scared you'd think I was being dramatic." "Never." "What if they hurt someone?" Hyunjin tightened his grip. "Then we make sure they don't." Felix stared at him for a long moment. Then, for the first time that night, his expression softened. Not a forced smile. Not the smile he had worn in the practice room. A real one. Small. Fragile. But real. Hyunjin looked at him and realized something. Whatever had been happening to Felix had already changed. The way he saw the people around him, and somewhere beyond the stairwell door, someone was still watching. Felix's phone vibrated again. Neither of them moved. The screen lit up between them. One final message appeared. "You should have kept smiling." Hyunjin stared at the words. Then he slowly stood. "We're going back inside." Felix looked up. "Why?" "Because we're not hiding from this anymore." Hyunjin opened the stairwell door. The bright hallway waited on the other side. Felix followed him, and when they returned to the practice room, every member looked at them. Bang Chan immediately noticed the change in Hyunjin's face. "What happened?" Hyunjin looked at Felix. Felix gave a small nod. Hyunjin took a breath. "We need to talk." No one laughed. No one moved. And for the first time that night, Felix stopped pretending that everything was okay. The room remained silent after Hyunjin spoke. For several seconds, nobody seemed to know what to say. Bang Chan was the first to move. He placed his phone on the floor and looked directly at Felix. "Start from the beginning." Felix stood near the mirror, his shoulders tense. "I don't know where the beginning is." "Then start with the first message." Felix hesitated. Hyunjin noticed his thumb rubbing repeatedly against the side of his phone. It was a tiny habit. Felix did it whenever he was anxious. "I got the first message 3 days ago," he finally said. "It was just a picture." "Of you?" Changben asked. Felix nodded. Outside the company, Han's expression immediately changed. "Someone was following you?" "I thought so." "You thought so?" Sungmin asked. Felix looked down. "I wasn't sure." Bang Chan remained calm, but his voice became more serious. "What did the message say?" Felix unlocked his phone and showed them. The members gathered around. The first message was simple. You look tired today, comma. Nobody spoke. IN frowned. That could have been anyone. I know, Felix said. That's why I ignored it. Hyunjin looked at the next message. Then, the next. The messages weren't threatening at first. They were observations. You skipped breakfast. You wore the black jacket again. You stayed late at the studio. You looked happier when Hyunjin made you laugh. Hyunjin's eyes stopped on the last sentence. He looked at Felix. Comma. Felix didn't look back. When did they mention me? Yesterday. Why didn't you tell me? Because I thought it would stop. Hyunjin's jaw tightened. It didn't. No more. Bang Chan took the phone from Felix carefully. How many messages? 43. Changbin stared at him. 43? Felix nodded. And you kept all of them. I didn't know what else to do. Bang Chan scrolled through the conversation. His expression grew darker. Some messages described ordinary moments. Others mentioned private details. The color of Felix's hoodie, the food he had ordered, the exact time he had left the building. Then, Bang Chan stopped. What is this? Felix looked up. Bang Chan turned the screen toward him. There was a photograph of Felix sleeping. The room was dark. Only the faint light from a window illuminated his face. Felix's eyes widened. I didn't send that. I know, Bang Chan said. That's my room. Nobody spoke. The silence became heavier. Hyunjin felt his hands turn cold. When was this taken? Felix looked at the time stamp. Last night. Changbin immediately stood. Then someone got close to his room. Wait, Bang Chan said, ... Everyone stopped. We don't know that yet. But that's obviously, we don't jump to conclusions. Bang Chan's voice was firm. Fear was spreading through the room, and he knew it. He couldn't afford to let panic make their decisions for them. First, Felix isn't going anywhere alone tonight. I agree, Hyunjin said immediately. Felix looked at him. You don't have to. Yes, I do. The words came out more sharply than Hyunjin intended. Felix blinked. Hyunjin softened his voice. I mean, you shouldn't be alone. Felix nodded. Bang Chan looked around the room. Everyone stays together until we figure this out. Sungmin crossed his arms. What if the person is connected to the company? Nobody answered. Com. It was the question everyone had been avoiding. Han looked at the photographs again. They know our schedules. Changbin shook his head. Our schedules aren't exactly secret, but some of these details are. Han pointed at the phone. This one. He tapped the screen. It says Felix stayed in Studio B for 27 minutes after everyone else left. Felix looked confused. I was there for maybe 15. Hyunjin's eyes narrowed. What? Felix took the phone. He checked the message again. 27 minutes. That isn't right. Bang Chan immediately understood. So whoever sent this wasn't necessarily watching you. The room became silent again. They might have been watching the building. Hyunjin looked toward the door. Or someone gave them the information. The thought settled over everyone. Someone inside could be helping. Felix lowered his phone. That's what I was afraid of. Bang Chan looked at him. You suspected that? Felix nodded. I noticed something yesterday. What? I received a message while we were rehearsing. He opened the conversation. The message appeared. Someone here knows what you're doing. Hyunjin stared at it. Why didn't you tell us? Felix swallowed. Because I didn't know who to trust. The sentence hurt more than anyone expected. Han looked away. Sungmin's expression softened. Changbin slowly sat down. Bang Chun took a breath. Felix, you should have told me. I know. You don't have to protect us by yourself. I wasn't trying to protect you. Felix's voice cracked. I was trying to protect myself. Nobody responded. Felix looked at the floor. I kept thinking that if I ignored it, it would disappear. His fingers tightened around the phone. But every time I smiled, I could pretend everything was normal. Hyunjin stepped closer. You don't have to pretend anymore. Felix looked at him. Something in his eyes broke. I don't know how to stop. Hyunjin's expression soft. Then, don't stop all at once. He reached for Felix's shoulder. Just stop pretending with us. Felix closed his eyes. A quiet breath escaped him. For several seconds, he didn't move. Then, he nodded. Bang Chun stood. We're contacting security. Felix immediately looked nervous. Please don't make this public. We won't. I don't want people thinking this isn't your fault. Bang Chan's voice was gentle but firm. Whatever this is, you didn't cause it. Felix nodded. The conversation continued for another hour. They went through every message, every photograph, every suspicious incident Felix remembered. A black car outside the building, a person wearing a gray cap near the dorm entrance, a missed call from an unknown number, a photograph taken through a window. Nothing was enough to identify anyone. But together, the pieces formed a pattern. Someone had been observing Felix for days, maybe longer. By midnight, the members were exhausted. Bang Chan finally told everyone to rest. Nobody wanted to leave Felix alone, so they stayed together. The practice room became unusually quiet. Felix sat on the couch. Hyunjin sat beside him. The others occupied the floor. Nobody talked much. The fear had changed the atmosphere. Every sound from the hallway made someone look toward the door. Eventually, Felix whispered, I'm sorry. Hyunjin looked at him. For what? For ruining tonight. Hyunjin frowned. You didn't ruin anything. Felix looked around. Everyone is scared because of me. No. Hyunjin leaned closer. Everyone is scared because someone is making you scared. Felix stared at him. There's a difference. Felix looked down. A few seconds later, he smiled. This time, it was genuine. Thank you. Hyunjin smiled back. Then Felix's phone vibrated. Both of them froze. The sound seemed impossibly loud in the quiet room. Bang! Chan looked up. Felix slowly reached for the phone. The screen displayed an unknown number. One new message. Felix opened it. His face went completely blank. Hyunjin leaned closer. What is it? Felix turned the phone toward him. There was no photograph this time, only a sentence. You finally told them? Hyunjin's heart stopped. He looked toward the others. Nobody had spoken. Nobody had touched Felix's phone, which meant one thing. The person watching Felix knew what had just happened. Right now, Hyunjin slowly raised his eyes toward the practice room's dark window. The blinds were closed, but behind them, something moved. Felix saw it too. Neither of them said a word. Bang Chen noticed their expressions. What? Hyunjin stood. Don't move. Everyone froze. Hyunjin walked toward the window. One step, then another. His hand reached for the blind. He stopped just before touching it, because from the other side came 3 soft knocks. Tap, tap, tap. Felix's breathing stopped. The room went completely silent. Bang Chen stood slowly. Nobody knew who was outside, but everyone now understood that whoever had been watching, Felix wasn't far away anymore.